there's a saying, fail quickly, right? Like figure it out and fail
quick.
Don't.
Yeah, check it out, man. This is your boy Akon, and right now you're tuned in to the Millionaire Student Show with my man, Sashin Govender.
Yo, it's Rich the Kid on the Millionaire Student Show.
Hi, I'm Ariani Celeste, and you're tuning in to the Millionaire Student Show.
What's up, y'all? Tune into the Millionaire Student Show with Andy Milanakis.
Yo, this your boy Saige Boy. You tuned into the Millionaire Student Show with Sasha. Keep it locked right here.
We're on the Millionaire Student Show, and today's guest I have Saige Walker. Saige is a creator, producer, and owner of 33 Entertainment. Incredible guy. Off camera, got the chance to get to know him. But Saige, for those who don't know you and your background and the creative background that you have, just a short description and going into a bit more detail, a bit about you.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Great to be here. So at first I'd like to say that I'm a storyteller, and everything starts with story first. And I'm 50-50 from artist and also business. And as a talent, I found myself developing in terms of music, acting, producing after the talent aspect. And I love story and anything that I can be a part of in any medium of the arts. I'm a storyteller.
Great. How difficult was it to transition from the creative side to the business side? Because most people have the talent of just business or just creative, but to mix that, to find a bridge between the two, is just something that you need to have, that raw talent and the business mind at the same time. How did you develop that?
I think a lot of it is just through trial and error and failing a lot of times.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of rejection and failure to find your own power, your own self. And through being an artist and constantly putting yourself on the line, the rejection isn't personal. You start understanding there's a business side to the industry. So understanding the artist business side, you end up understanding having control and power, and lends to be on the business side to be a better artist. I would say, the best place, whatever you're doing, is to learn other positions. If you're an actor, you're taking acting classes and stuff, but take a writing class. If you're a singer, write a song, become a writer. You just really open yourself up, and through that process, the energy that the universe will bring to you will align you with where you're at in your life.
Yeah, especially getting out of your comfort zone. Because there's a specific niche that most people start to, focus on, because that's what they're good at. But getting out of your comfort zone really and truly makes you a better artist or better actor, etc.
I always say that if I'm uncomfortable, then I'm in the right place.
Yeah.
Like this interview, so to speak.
I love that.
It's like, it's the ownership of where you're at and really accepting the now. Eckhart Tolle talks about the power of now. Well, we spend so much time living in our past ego of our programming as children, of what we grew up with, and really to step outside of that and not live in a future sense of ourself, where the things that we want, we convince ourselves they're happening, but living in the now, accepting what really is happening and putting yourself on the line constantly. So I would say if you're uncomfortable, you're in a great place.
Great. So how important did your foundation play on where you're at right now?
I had very supportive, nurturing parents, and I started in the industry when I was about 5 to 8 years old, and as a Michael Jackson impersonator, at the time was my first influence in music, pop culture music, and I saw Thriller a few years after it came out and was just enamored by, I believe, what Michael Jackson did at the time with video and music combination. Really changed the course of technology, utilizing technology at the time, and really gave a place that many people around the world were inspired by.
So was Michael one of your mentors, virtual mentors that you could look up to and start to emulate him?
At the time, I wouldn't say emulate, because at 5 and 6 you don't think of things in that respect, but it's the inspiration behind it, the feelings that you get when you're singing or dancing, and I think the inspiration of emotion and feeling. Quincy Jones would say, not Quincy, but Berry Gordy would say, in Motown, it's the chill bumps that we get when we know it's a hit.
Yeah.
I think technology today has moved us away from that, and on the corporate side, that's the secret. That's what's missing within the industry today. So taking it back to being a creator, being an artist, if you feel that thing that gives you chill bumps, then it's going to give everybody else chill bumps, because it's a human connection.
Yeah.
Technology and where we've moved in the space that is non-human doesn't give us those feelings. So when you on the business side, you start looking at the numbers, the bottom line, the red. Put the focus and attention in, when you're sitting in the studio, if you're recording something or you're writing something, how do I feel? How does this make me feel? And then there's a truth and a realness to that that's going to inspire and affect others.
And I guess you got to come from a point of, I genuinely want to go out there and create. It's not like I'm chasing the money, because automatically that's not going to go viral.
It's never about the money.
Yeah.
It can't be about the money at all. It really has to be about the craft. It's got to be about the art. If you're creating something, it's got to be about your creation. The money shows up. It's a universal mechanism. And understanding that, you learn to trust the universe, and it's part of what you were saying, putting yourself on the line, being not comfortable. You create that energy, and you're going to fail. It's going to happen. And I don't mean failure in terms of you're not successful. I mean in terms of, we all have preconceived ideas of what we want to be, and a lot of that comes from ego. Well, that's not necessarily what the universe wants us to share with the world in terms of our talents and our stories, our experiences. So put yourself out there on the line and enjoy the failure of it, and push yourself beyond that. It's the come up. It's not the fall. It's the come up. And I just saw something recently that says if I'm landing when I fall and I'm on my back, I can still look up to the sky.
Correct.
And I have somewhere to go. It's about that.
Yeah, most people look at the final product, and that's what they want to emulate. They look at people who have this lifestyle. What they don't understand is 10, 15, 20 years later that gave them this lifestyle. So they chase the final product. They want to become the next artist. They want to become the next athlete. They want to become the next actress or actor. And they lose their way because they're chasing the wrong target. They don't realize these people, there's always something behind the scenes that's what you need to emulate. That's what you need to articulate.
It opens us up to being an enemy of ourselves. We're our worst enemies within our own heads. So to break out of that, is again taking the risk. We're our worst enemies within our own heads. So to break out of that, is again taking the risk and fighting ourselves in terms of what we think failure is. It's not the preconceived notion of I didn't get what I wanted at this time. Everyone has their time in terms of what they want to get from what they're doing, and it might be 1,000 times that you're going to land on your back, but it's just the way that it didn't work with what you're doing, or the universe wants you to be a bigger inspiration. So when I started as an actor, I didn't think of myself as a producer, and understanding, becoming a creator and wanting to see a vision of storytelling, it just became part of the transition. And as an actor, I didn't see myself writing and being a part of so many instrumental things in storytelling. It just became part of that journey. I think of success as a journey, not a destination. And what you were saying beforehand was people see themselves and want a certain thing and attain that destiny and destination, but there's a process, there's a flow to being synced in the experience that gets you to where the universe wants you to be, and it's never what we want for ourselves. There's almost a sacrifice that happens in that, and the universe blesses you with something much more powerful and greater that you inspire the world with, that you would not have had the universe just gave you A-list acting roles.
Yeah. So let's go back to your foundation. I mean, when you were about 4 to 6, did you develop a talent that you were born with? Did you develop a gift? Did you develop something that you were just passionate about? Because there was no way at 4 to 6 that you did this for the money. But I mean,
it's never about the money. And no, when I was 4 to 6, I didn't get paid. As years progressed, I got paid towards the 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 towards the end. But 5, 6, it was just the love of art and being out there all the time, and it just developed into that. And really, like, the money shows up because your schedule's so booked and doing free stuff and just giving yourself as much as you can, that you end up being rewarded and blessed by the universe saying, hey, you know what, it's time to start making money at this, because you need to go to that next place to be able to inspire others, and money is only a tool for that.
So you moved out to LA about 20 years ago.
I did, yeah.
And there's no LA in Africa, there's no LA in Europe, there's no LA in South America. And most people have the perception, well, if I want to further my career in acting or music and entertainment, I should move out to LA. What advice would you give to people who are in third world countries?
I would say utilize technology today. We all have cameras on our phones. If you want to act, turn the camera on, start acting. Take action. Acting, for me, taught me that. It's about taking action and just being in the now of what we have available to us. Maybe it's not realistic to come out to LA, but if you turn the camera on and you throw it up on YouTube for free, you're not looking to profit off of that platform, and it's not about money, someone might see it and say, hey, you know what? I might see it and say, wow, that's really cool what they did. I'd love to bring them out to LA. Yeah. And then the universe shows up and says, you wanted to get to LA, here it is. But not taking those steps and taking action in what we have power and control of in ourselves, we can't create those opportunities to open up.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible to know that the internet never sleeps.
No.
I mean, you could literally put up a video at any given time, And while someone's going out there making an excuse on why it's not working for them, why the internet's not working for them, why they're not utilizing technology, someone's turning the excuse into an opportunity. And someone's making it work for them. There's always people out there that you can match, model, and mirror, in life. So
50 Cent is a credible example of that. Coming out of the hip hop model in terms of the music industry that passed and became more about self-promotion. If it's out of the trunk of the car on the street, it's self-promotion. I respect that.
Yeah.
And 50 Cent really changed the game in terms of the internet and utilizing it with getting feedback from his fans and changing direction and being able to give more to the fans. I think that we find ourselves as artists we want to get certain places, so we end up taking. And you go into situations and you think it's about taking. What can I get? How can I get that role? How can I get this job? Whatever that thing is that you want. But really it's about giving. How do I show up? That's what we need to start saying when we're in the process of this, is how do I show up and give whatever I can give in my talents to whatever someone else is doing. Through that process, you gain back, because the universe blesses you in that.
Correct. How can I actually add value to someone else? Because in due time, you'll be rewarded.
Completely.
I mean, my parents always told me in my foundational years, very early in my career, you have two hands, one to give and one to receive. The minute you find yourself taking with both hands, you're going to lose in due time. Someone's going to take with both of your hands as well. So I learned that, what was the most important lesson you had to learn when you first started that has, had a positive impact on yourself in the entertainment industry? And how did that lesson come about? So, going out there and learning from your experience, but what was that one moment in your career that said, hey, hold on, this is my learning experience?
I think there was a progression as an actor. I had gotten to a place where I got 7 major studio offers for lead roles, and gotten to the top, top 5 agency representing me, and had really gotten to the top and got the offers from casting. But you realize there's things outside of your power and control that end up not giving you what you want. And so in my personal situation, it's always a process of, okay, how can I change course and utilize other talents and give my talents in another area that will facilitate and come back. Maybe it's not the time for this, and there are things outside of your power and control that you don't have. So in my personal experience, through the acting process, I had reached this place and it just didn't happen because of political things that you have no control over.
Yeah.
So I went in on the music side, went into the music industry, worked with an amazing producer that did Evanescence at the time that he was developing me. His name's Chris Johnson, shout out.
Yeah.
And saw the industry, music industry, and ended up doing a whole thing in music, and found myself with a hot song on a weekly top 40, Kiss FM, a station here that was in Los Angeles, and in 8 different countries. The single was played in the top 40.
Wow.
Got signed with Madonna's record company, and ended up with a development series that was replacing Jesse McCartney's Summerlin on the WB. And through this marketing, you know, we had a 1600 radio station tour set up through Clear Channel to promote the album. And the nature of the industry that you don't control, whether it's an executive that moves out of the corporation, as an artist, you only have a certain control and power within your project. So if someone leaves a corporation or whatever, your project ends up falling through the cracks. So literally, with all of that stacked up, within 3 days time, it collapsed like a house of cards. It was all gone. And I think that was a defining moment for me that said, okay, what's the next step in terms of facilitating my art and my abilities in an industry, the business side of the industry, that I can have control and power in, and start a step-by-step process that doesn't put my success in other people's hands. And when it is in those other people's hands, it's because the work was done to facilitate the timeline of the project that I was doing. So that's what really made me become a creator producer, and coming back into the Hollywood space of film and television was understanding that just as an artist, we're moving into a tech space in time that we can generate a fan base. We can do certain things that create our chances to be more on the business side, not just about the art.
And everyone's going to go through that adversity. Everyone's going to go to that point where it's going to make them realize, well, God is in control. The universe is in control. There is something bigger for me to, go out there and do. You've worked with some incredible people. First you've worked with Kanye, you've worked with will.i.am, Madonna's label. You've worked with some incredible people. First you've worked with Kanye, you've worked with will.i.am, Madonna's label. If someone is watching, aspiring, young and old, how did you build trust to work with these A-list stars and be invited into their circle?
Again, as I was saying earlier, through the process of what you're doing, you don't know who's going to show up. You don't know what next week is going to bring to what you're doing now. And those individuals, Kanye was nobody at the time. He was making, tracks for Jay, and our alignment just happened. And it didn't happen in terms of what do I want, what can I get. I didn't even know Kanye until I got to know Kanye.
Yeah.
And we just connected on an artist level. And going back to the chill bumps and stuff, it was like I played my song and he was like, yo, that shit's dope, bro. And then I was blessed in terms of he looked at my situation and he actually foreshadowed where I was at in my music and the business side of it, and pointed out exactly what was going to happen because he had been through it. And that's the power of a mentor. And at that moment, when you talk about defining moments, it was like he said, keep your eyes open, stick next to me, roll with me. I'm going to show you that I'm about to be the next biggest artist in the world. And that's exactly what he did. And to be a part of that legacy, to watch that, really gives you a power. At the time, he was like, you know what I have? I have power of belief. That's all I have. I'm like, what's your budget? I won't talk specifics, but he's like, man, at the end of the day, it's just about what I believe. I'm going to be the next biggest thing in music. And he did become that. And so taking from that, I think it's just the power in belief that we have. It doesn't matter how many times that you hit the ground, how many times that you're staring up at the sky because you're laying flat on your back. It's the come up in that, and the belief and power that you can change the world through action and just in what you believe.
Yeah, it's actually making me wanting to put this interview off right now and get to work. That's how pumped up I am. I mean, you know, it really and truly is about psychological side of life. You know,
Sometimes interviews become very hard because
Yeah.
I'm like, let's talk, let's just get the work done.
Yeah.
And it's that work, it's the ethic behind that. I think a lot of people think in terms of, I want to create something at this level. Here's a reality fact. Guys like Pharrell Williams, guys like Kanye West, guys like Steven Spielberg, you create a body of work, but the world really sees 5% of that body of work. The rest of the work is the ethic behind it.
Yeah.
And no one sees those projects. Like, we see Michael Jackson and we have all this music coming out, and music that we haven't heard, and other artists now jumping on remakes of Michael's songs at the time through what they're doing. The world never heard that music, but it's the work behind it. So it's no different than digging a ditch. You got a shovel in a hand and you got to dig a hole in the ditch. Well, the hole's not going to get there unless you get to work and you dig that hole, you know? And it's within in anything, not just the entertainment business, but whatever we do, there's a work ethic and process to that. So I might write 5,000 songs and the world may hear one. That's just how it works out.
what is one of the biggest reasons why, you know, actresses, actors, and even mainly artists, they start to divert from the industry at a point where, you know, you've built up your name, you've built up your brand, but then you divert into something totally different where you'd never even, you know, it was never aligned for you to even do that. You know, your personal alignment. Once again, the universe comes in and starts to attract more opportunities. But what do you feel is the biggest reason? Is there something inside? It's obviously, you know, it's not just the money. What is it? What do you think?
I don't know. I think that it just, when you're really in the flow and the energy of being in alignment with the universe in the now, like I said, you don't know what next week's gonna bring. So it's really about surrendering. It's giving everything that we have and surrendering ourselves humbly in being of service and charity and aligning ourselves in those places where next thing you know, you've got a major hit with Disney. Well, did I think last week I'd have that hit with Disney? No. But an opportunity opened itself that maybe necessarily I don't have time to do, or I don't want to do, but I find a place in it to do it. Well, like I said, you don't know where that's going to take you.
Definitely. Saige, before we wrap this up, I mean, you had the support of your parents. Most people don't. Most people don't have, I mean, most parents out there, they don't see the creative side from their kid. They see, you know, academic. What technical training should people seek to get into this industry? And not just get into it, take it to a different level.
Well, I didn't have the support of my parents in terms of the industry and the money and the success behind it. It just was something that they supported me in because I loved to do it. And so the process of that was also well balanced in terms of if I wanted to play baseball, which I did. I wasn't very good. The pitcher always hit me with the ball and I'd walk the base, so I rarely got to hit the ball. but they supported me in that as well. And what was the question again?
What technical skills would they need to develop or invest in? What should they seek? Technical training.
I think we should just redo that whole question.
Yeah.
So the question was, what was the technical training? So, like, for example, my daughter wants to be a cinematographer.
Mm-hmm.
Is college the right way, or what else on top of college should she be doing? So he's just asking, did you go to acting school? What courses did you take, if any? Or was it just strictly through mentors and just by doing? So,
Okay.
so that people can put that into motion.
Okay.
Perfect. So this is a last
I've got
question
the
now.
answer. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Can we go? Okay. So, Saige, what advice would you give people? I mean, you had the support of your parents. Most don't. Most parents out there, they push their kids in the direction that they feel they didn't go into. What technical training should people see?
Sorry, can we
Yeah, go for it.
change? Let's take the support of my parents out.
Okay, perfect.
And rework that.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Cool. What advice would you give people from a point of what technical training should they seek?
Like I said earlier, taking action. I think if it's reading a book, if it's picking up your cell phone and shooting a scene, memorizing a Shakespearean play, getting involved in community theater, whatever we can do that makes us of service and giving our talents, just take action and do it. And if you're an actor, seek out an acting class. If you want to learn to write and record music, go to a studio. Find situations that enable and help you in the process. I don't think it's about like finding that mentor per se. I think mentors show up when we're taking those actions, and they help you get to that next place, the next level, because you've done the work, that you've already taken that action.
Great. Saige Walker, creator, producer, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for featuring on the Millionaire Student Show. Real energy and just value, adding you value. Comment below who you believe I should interview next on the Millionaire Student Show. Once again, thank you so much for featuring on.
Thank you for having me.
We're on the Millionaire Student Show with Shalini Vadera, and it's interesting. We're going to go into more of the midst of adversity and now living the life filled with prosperity. But before we go into that, I want to quickly introduce you to her, and then we'll go into her background in more detail. Her rise from jewelry and fashion entrepreneur, celebrity makeup artist, best-selling author of Passport to Beauty, favorite guest on Dr. Oz today, and The View, to the founder of a $21 million global cosmetics company, is nothing short of remarkable. So